looking to connect a region of over 600 bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN and Focus. We're coming to you live from Manila in Thailand. Hello, Esther.
Hi, I'm Esther Odanga from EBC Thailand Bureau, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines. Cambodia records more highly daily coronavirus cases, deaths, and imported case figures. And we were able to talk to Her Excellency Maria Amelita C. Aquino, the Philippine ambassador to Cambodia.
And businesses.
Thai riot police shot tear gas and fired water cannons at pro-democracy activists rallying in the capital as thousands marched to protest to the government's management of the nation's worst coronavirus outbreak.
And Hanoi authorities requested citizens to stay at home from July 19 as the capital city as part of the capital city's latest measures to contain the COVID-19 pandemic.
The largest group of Thai Olympians arrived in Tokyo for the upcoming Olympics.
Cambodia announced a total of 889 daily new cases as the continued surge in cases, especially in imported cases, caused alarm among observers of the pandemic there. Cambodia also announced 27 new deaths, bringing the total to 1,052 direct deaths from the virus. And this continues the explosion of deaths in the last few weeks, with daily death numbers in the 25 to 40 range. Further concern comes from the continued spike in imported cases, with hundreds raising fears of the Alpha and Delta COVID variants that these imported cases may bring. Earlier, we were able to talk to Her Excellency Maria Amelita Aquino, the Philippine ambassador to Cambodia. Let's listen in.
Good morning, Ms. Alma, and thank you very much for having me back in your program. Right now in Cambodia, like all other countries, there has been a surge in the COVID cases. From less than 500 before February 20, now they have a total of 67,181 cases. But of course, 58,930 have recovered. And because of the surge of these cases, they had a lockdown for 3 weeks during from April 15 to May 6. So there was a lockdown, and including the embassy had to scale down our physical presence in the embassy. But now, with the lifting of the lockdown, we're back to normal, so to speak. But of course, even with the lifting of the lockdown, schools, both private and public here, are still closed. And businesses considered as high risk remain closed up to July 23, although we don't know whether this will still be extended. Among the high risk businesses that they have identified are the casinos, the karaoke and the nightclubs, the fitness centers, massage parlors, amusement parks, resorts, museums, and other entertainment areas. So they have maintained the closure of these high-risk businesses. At the same time, there's also a concern of the new Delta variant. As of today, the figures that we're getting is that there are 75 Delta variant cases here in Cambodia. And in fact, last week alone, there were reports that there were 37 imported cases. That means coming from their nationals or foreigners that came in there were 37 that were tested as Delta variant. So there's really a big concern on this new type of variant, which is considered more transmissible. And in fact, last April 30, they imposed a temporary ban until further notice on arrivals from India and those passing through India. And last week, they announced that for 1 month, starting July 18, travel across the border between Cambodia and Vietnam will be banned for 1 month. And of course, there are exceptions like medical cases, diplomats, and those others that will be given exception. There's really a lot of concern on these new variants. But at the same time, they're also ramping up their vaccination. Cambodia is targeting 10 million by November 2021. They have a population of 16 million. They're targeting to vaccinate 10 million. And so far, they have vaccinated 5,767,616, or that's around 57.68 of the target. And they've started first with Phnom Penh and nearby urban areas, and now under what they call the Blossom approach, they're now doing the vaccination in the provinces. They're starting with 14 provinces, and depending on if there are more vaccines that will be delivered, then they will extend it to the 24 provinces. So, and also, recently, Prime Minister Hun Sen announced that they are planning to include in the vaccination those between 12 to 17 years old, with the eye on the opening of the school. So this means an additional 2 million. So they had to, of course, increase their purchases. And for the vaccination, we are fortunate that foreigners, including Filipinos and diplomats, have been included in the vaccination campaign. And although we don't have the number, at least for Phnom Penh, we know that a big number of our kababayans have been vaccinated. So at least this will help, prevent transmission of the virus, or at least if one has the virus, not to have very serious symptoms.
You also mentioned about our kababayans and then foreigners. You said earlier we were talking, so there's no distinction on who can get it. Anybody can get a vaccination, ma'am.
Yes. Foreigners as well as diplomats, and I think you only have to show your passport and of course your visa.
Mhm.
We're just actually starting to informally ask our consular clients na vaccinate na ba kayo. So so far I have something here. I mean, it's just an indication of more or less the percentage that are vaccinated. For example, in June, we started late June up to July. We have 442 consular clients. Of that 442, 315 have received already their second dose.
Wow.
So I mean, if that's an indication, no? And I think our kababayans also are aware of the importance of being vaccinated, especially a lot of them work in casinos and in garment factories, which was among the places where there were a lot of outbreaks in the last few months. So I think yung iba na before, kasi merong iba medyo hesitant, pero nagpa-vaccinate na rin sila. So it's very encouraging also. So we're also encouraging them, and we're posting in our websites kung may mga announcement kaming makuha na may vaccination sa ganitong lugar, ganito yung deadline, and sometimes they text us if they're having difficulties, tinutulungan na lang namin makipag-coordinate dun sa kanilang sangkap. Kasi minsan language din ang problema eh.
Yes.
Pero we're glad that majority of our kababayans have chosen to be vaccinated.
Mhm. Eh ma'am, kumusta naman po yung ating consular services po? Were they affected by the lockdown or restrictions po dyan?
Nung nagkaroon ng lockdown, that was 3 weeks, we had half of the team coming to office. In the event that since lockdown nga, baka hindi rin makakapunta yung ibang mga kababayans natin. Pero so far, may mga dumating even during the lockdown. Maybe it depends on where they are coming from because during the lockdown, they actually classify the zones into red zones that you can't really go out. Yung yellow zone, which is more you have more movement, as well as the orange zone. So far we were able to attend to those who came during that lockdown period. Na minsan nga nagtataka kami, paano kayo nakalabas, no? But of course, siguro nga doon sa kanilang lugar is pwede yung mga essential when they have to renew their passports, get some documents. Pero ngayon, na kami, 100% back to normal na.
Wow, galing naman.
Kaya, ang lang naman ho, kasi like for us in the embassy, we've all been fully vaccinated, nakapag 2 doses na kami. So medyo merong konting confidence na, to come to office. And of course, we have to attend also to our kababayans. Although you have your social media, you have the texting, pero iba pa rin yung mga pumupunta rito na so it's parang back to normal, except of course you have to wear your mask. You have to practice social distancing. And actually here, gatherings are allowed but should not be more than 15.
Oh.
So pwedeng 15 or less. So, but we've been reading the news, and there are pronouncement from the authorities of warnings they were saying about reaching the red line. So we are anticipating that there might be more measures that may be implemented in the next few days because of this Delta variant. Nakaka-concern nga kasi, as I said, like last week alone, 37 from outside yung kanilang mga migrants who crossed the border, and some foreigners that came in. Nung tinest sila, Delta variant. So they're also being very careful, but at the same time, they're more or less open. Banks are open, supermarkets are open, shops are open. But people are advised to really be careful and to go out only when it's needed.
What about, since, ang galing po, kasi bali open na lahat, back to normal, banks, businesses are open. Yun lang, may limitation lang po ng konti kung ilan are allowed or yung ilan ang pwede sa isang, yung, kunyari sabi nyo, 15 lang pwede. Di po ba? Yeah. So at least open naman pala po yung business. Kumusta naman po yung ating mga kababayan dyan? How many Filipinos do we have in Cambodia, ma'am?
We estimate around 7,000, but we're checking again our database because since last year, we have repatriated more than 1,000. Actually, to be exact, we have repatriated 1,014. So we're checking our database kasi minsan pag umaalis, minsan pag hindi namin alam, hindi na ano. So but as of now, we're estimating 7,000. And unfortunately, merong 67 na nag-COVID positive. And 3 of them are actually imported. Ibig sabihin, nanggaling sa Pilipinas, nag-transit sa isang country. Pagdating dito, nung tinest, they were found to be positive. But out of that 67, they've all recovered except for 7. And we're in touch with them. Naman sila, asymptomatic or mild, they're in quarantine facilities arranged by their employers. And we were also able to arrange for some of them, for our OWA members, for OWA to give some welfare assistance Nagkataon, meron ditong importanteng mission yung OWA, and so we took advantage of telling her about these cases, kung ano bang pwedeng ano. So we were able to get some welfare assistance from them, and then medyo nag-campaign na rin kami for OWA membership because like for the repatriations, DFA repatriations, we were able to have to charter flights. So this year we had 2 charter flights. First, in March, around 56 Filipinos. Ito sweeper from Myanmar to Phnom Penh. And then in May, we have 106. But outside of that chartered flight repatriations, we were also able to arrange for OWA members commercial flights. So you tell OWA that these people really have no other means of going home, wala na silang job. So we were able to get I think 42 of them to get plane tickets, so commercial flights. So we assisted them in coordinating with OWA in the airport and in the requirements. Meron din dalawa na self-paying, di na makapag-antay dun sa repatriation, and they can do it naman. We also assist them in terms of facilitating their travel at saka yung pag-uwi nga sa atin na nakakapag-ano pa naman ho kami. We do our Sunday consular services once a month. And then fortunately, before the lockdown, we were able to have a consular outreach in the province of Siem Reap. So we will be planning to go to do our consular outreach pag yung situation medyo kasi ngayon ho, parang yung cases ang dumadami, napansin namin yung sa outside, especially yung borders. Kasi yung mga migrants sila are just siguro the same situation, nahirapan na din sa bansa kung nasaan sila. So bumabalik through the borders. Minsan yun yung doon nadadala yung mga sakit . So we're trying also to see how we can have our next consular outreach na ano kasi anyway, as I've said, the vaccination has also given us confidence to reach out further na and hopefully kasi nga ho ngayon sa mga probinsya nag-uumpisa na rin yung vaccination, yung ating din mga kababayan na nasa mga probinsya ay sana makasama sila at magpa-vaccinate din. By the way, a lot of the cases of the 67 cases aside from the 3 that were imported are working in casinos. Sa mga bandang border. So yun ang napansin namin karamihan sa casinos. Siguro yung exposure nila na so kaya siguro rin it's one of the what they call the high risk business na so far at least sa Phnom Penh sarado pa up to July 23. So let's see whether this will be extended or they will be opening up. Kasi yung Cambodia, of course, they're also looking, trying to balance health concerns and the economy, and tourism is one of the most important sources of their GDP. And I think they are targeting, of course, it will also depend on the health situation. They are targeting that by the last quarter to selectively open up. Pero pinag-aaralan pa nila kung ano yung magiging protocols nito . Kung ilan yung quarantine, saan manggagaling. So pinag-aaralan din mo nila ito. And actually, isa pang Cambodia was supposed to host a face-to-face Asia-Europe meeting this November. Ilang beses na yan na-postpone, pero nagkaroon ng decision just last week, a week or two, that to hold it virtually kasi nga dahil sa mga variants na they don't want to risk putting the leaders to 52 leaders, 51 leaders plus head of EU and the ASEAN Secretariat. So they have decided to just do it virtually, although they were really prepared and hoping to have it. But hindi na, biglang pumasok ngayon yung Delta . Na na parang napakabilis ng transmission. And of course, itong leaders, di mo naman ika-quarantine 14 days. So I think they really thought about it, and eto na nga ho. Pero yung sa tourism, tingnan mo natin kasi yung kausap ko yung Minister of Tourism, sinasabi nga ho niya na ito yung pinoforesee nila. And I think marami rin tayong kababayan na nasa tourism sector, sa mga hotels, sa mga entertainments, sa restaurants. At least that's what their plans are, na to see how they can open up slowly and gradually. So yun din ang tinitignan namin para kung wala ng quarantine makakapag ang mahirap kasi yung quarantine pagpunta sa atin, and then pagbalik dito ka-quarantine ka rin ng 14 days. Although ngayon I think people are used to doing online work. Parang but still like kami, even during the lockdown, we have 2 teams para pero minsan yung isang member ng dapat team 1 na dapat sa bahay, minsan pumupunta pa rin kasi parang nandito yung nandito yung parang mas gusto niya dito. Pero we were very careful kasi nga para kung merong mangyari dun sa isang team, meron ka pang isang team na hindi maapektuhan. But now, since we've all been vaccinated, we're being very careful also. Nagmamask pa rin kami rito kung magkakasama. Fortunately, medyo may mga kwarto-kwarto kami, pero pag yung pupunta sa isang kwarto, and of course, we're also reminding our kababayans na kahit na-vaccinate na, you still have to observe distancing, wearing face masks.
You mentioned about tourism as well, na that is a big factor nga po, no, sa GDP na isang bansa, especially almost all naman po. Pero sa inyo po, how is travel, inbound and outbound po? Kumusta po ang sitwasyon ngayon ng travel dyan?
Dito ho, yung sa outbound naman, wala namang, except yung meron silang ngayon na for certain countries. Pero like for us Filipinos, we can go back to the Philippines. Wala nga lang yung direct flight kasi yung PAL na may direct flight dati, suspended pa rin yung direct flight. So Filipinos who want to return to the Philippines would have to transit either to Singapore or via Seoul. At napakahaba po nung transit time, I think 12 to 13 hours. Yan. Kasi wala pa hong direct flight. Kung meron sanang direct flight, pero hindi pa ho nila nire-resume yung direct flight. So, pero yung pupunta naman ho rito, kailangan pa rin hong mag-quarantine. Kahit diplomats, kahit pupunta rito for work, yung tourism, hindi pa ata sila nagbibigay ng tourist visa, but those coming from outside would have to quarantine for 14 days. Tapos ho, pagdating, arrival, testing, and then you quarantine. On the 13th day, you test again. Bago ka, if you're negative, then you're allowed to.
So when you arrive po, magte-test?
Oho, sa airport.
Opo. Kapag negative, quarantine pa din po?
Quarantine pa rin ho. Tapos sa 13th day, meron pa rin hong test. Bago kayo palabasin on the 14th day. Na Actually yun yung nangyari dun sa isang Filipina na may case. I think she was negative, and then when she was tested on the 13th day, lumabas na positive.
Oh my gosh. Ang hirap naman po.
It's a requirement that you have 72 hours before a negative PCR test. So nung umalis siya sa Pilipinas, may dala-dala siyang test na negative siya. So of course we don't know what happened, there are transit, so ganun pa rin hindi pa rin nagbabago yung kanilang requirements. Pero yun nga, if they are planning kung matutuloy yung opening up nila, magkakaroon siguro ng baka yung quarantine, baka i-reduce nila. Pero these are still plans na pinag-aaralan ng kanilang Ministry of Tourism at saka yung Ministry of Health. Kasi ang final say actually is the Ministry of Health kasi uh, it's still very important na although you want the economy to open up, pero kailangan mag-ingat din po.
Mhm. Mhm. True. Ma'am,
Kaya
we asked, opo, sige, go ahead po.
hindi lang, ang ano lang, importante rin sa atin yung tourism na mag-open up kasi nga yung ating ibang mga kababayan, marami na either nabawasan yung working hours or nag-aantay muna on call. So yung iba nag-aantay, pero yung mga iba na yung siguro wala na rin silang ibang sumama na sa repatriation. Pero merong iba are still trying to see if they can get back to work. In the meantime, kung ano-anong mga, alam niyo yung mga Pilipino, maparaan din yan. So they also, some of them are able to get some, part-time sidelines. Pero yun na nga, pag bumalik po sana yung tourism, medyo mas at least makakagaan. Kasi yung iba mo talaga parang ilang months na raw na hindi sila parang o kaya reduced work. So that so it's also, and I think overall, sa ASEAN tourism ministers, I think there was a meeting and they're going to have a meeting also in January hosted by Cambodia. I think they will discuss this further.
Ma'am, yung mga Pilipino po natin dyan, I'm sure hindi mo makalabas pero is there any way that they are helping, di ba sa ibang bansa po nagtutulungan sila? Sa Cambodia po ba meron silang way para makapagtulungan sa isa't isa?
Actually, meron nagtutulungan sila kasi I don't remember that time yung kaanuhan. Yung isang, there's a Filipino supermarket, Philmart, and they put up a community quarantine. Nag-ano sila, and then from what I understand, syempre aside from yun sa kanila, meron ding iba, yung iba hindi nga pinapasabi yung pangalan nila, nagdadala rin na i-contribute sa community quarantine. At saka hindi lang sa COVID, meron tayong mga ibang cases na may mga sakit, mag-isa lang sila. Alam niyo, nag-aalaga sa kanila, yung kapwa Pilipino na roommate nila, na yung mga ganun. Kasi we've had cases of hospitalizations. In fact, one of the repatriation we had this year was a stretcher case. Alam niyo, nag-aalaga sa kanya yung mga Pilipinas rin nila na mga roommates niya. Kasi sino ba naman magtutulungan kung hindi tayo rin.
Just in case po may mga emergencies or calamities po, ma'am, meron po ba silang mapupuntahan o meron pong contingency measures ang embassy po natin dyan?
Meron tayong contingency plan and I think we will be updating it kasi nga maka-factor in na ngayon itong mga Delta variants at yung mga repatriations. And we also have our hotline which can be called 24 hours. Na minsan ang ginagawa pa ng aming ATN officer, hindi lang yung Filipino concern, pati yung pamilya na sa Pilipinas kasama na dun sa kanilang Viber group. Kasi minsan, kino-convince mo yung Filipino, hindi so minsan through the relatives, nako-convince naman sila through the relatives. So yun yung isang strategy na ginagawa na rin kasi para nakikita na rin nung relatives yung developments, yung minsan ka-Viber namin yung DFA, yung UMWA, yung OWA, and we've been working a lot also with OWA. And also in fact, isa rin dun sa ginawa namin, tinuloy namin yung tawag namin ikapihan sa pasubuan. So this year we had yung aming first ikapihan. In-invite namin somebody from the Department of Labor to speak about the labor laws. Kasi mula last year, ang dami tanong tungkol sa labor-related matters, lalo na yung sa termination of contracts, ano bang benefits nila, pwede ba silang, And I think it was very useful. Ang feedback ko, merong iba na because of that, because of seminar, they were able to, to negotiate with their employers na, hindi mo ako basta pwedeng alisin, kailangan ganito, ganito. May mga, so they're empowered because they know the rules. No? Tapos nung nandito rin ho yung OWA, because she was here on a mission, naka-quarantine. So while quarantine, nag-ikapihan kami on OWA benefits. So para ma-encourage din yung ibang mga kababayan natin na mag-member ng OWA. As I said na, katulad nung yung mga hindi nakasama sa repatriation, and if you can really show na wala ka ng means dito, and may mga, we endorse it to OWA. And so far, OWA has been able to buy tickets for them na commercial flights na pero ito limited sa OWA members, and care packages we were able also to arrange with OWA for care packages. Kami rin sa embassy gumawa kami ng paraan para makapagbigay ng care packages, pero syempre it's not enough, pero this was supplemented by OWA. So we're encouraging also our kababayans to be OWA member. Kung inactive, pwede naman i-activate. Kasi kami rin, ako rin na-realize ko na marami ring benefits na kung medyo nag-aantay kami dito sa DFA, baka dito kung alin ang mauna. So we have different sources na So helpful ho yun yung alam nila yung mga karapatan nila. At saka, we've also made representations for overstaying Filipinos. Kasi yung mga, meron kaming, yung isang repatriation, there were 9 overstaying. Andito na ilan years, ang mahal ho ng overstaying, $10 a day. And fortunately, we were able to have them waived. Kasi hindi sila makakaalis kung hindi ma-waive. So yun din yung isang ginagawa namin. So isa rin pinaplano namin ngayon, yung isang seminar naman on, on how to fix your visa, your stay here with immigration. Pero so far, we've been fortunate na yung mga aalis, re-repatriate na ayos naman namin. Kasi ang mahal ho sobrang mahal, and of course, we try to ask for funds, pero kung pwede naman natin ma-waive, yun na lang na so sinasabi naman namin na I think it's better that it be waived, because if they stay here, mas mahihirapan din sila, mahihirapan din yung bansang ito. So kung papaalisin nila, i-waive nila. So yun din yung isang na namin dun sa umalis. At saka yung mga ibang nandito, tinutulungan namin ayusin yung kanilang may mga ibang bata pinanganak, wala pang visa. So we're also trying to fix that. Ang dami kailangan gawin, pero at least yung mga Filipinos dito are very understanding. Of course, we try to do our best. We try to knock on all the doors, DFA, OWA, DOLE. Minsan yung nalang may mga helpful Filipinos dito na matagal na tutulungan, nakakatulong sa amin, or they also our network na ikalat itong news na may vaccination diyan, meron ganito. So they're also our partners. Meron hong iisa lang organization dito Samahan ng mga Pilipino sa Cambodia na so sila yung matagal na rito, so sila rin yung ginagamit namin one way aside from social media, kasi hindi naman lahat nakakapag-Facebook. At saka minsan so sila na lang din yung nag-disseminate ng mga importanteng information.
Ma'am, can you give us some last message po kung yung mga nakikinig sa inyo ngayon tsaka nag-worry sa pamilya nila na nandyan po sa Cambodia, baka meron kayong ipaabot na mensahe sa kanila?
So sa mga pamilya ng mga Filipinos na nandito sa Cambodia, medyo mahirap po ang buhay ngayon, pero wag po kayong mag-alala kasi sila naman ay isinasama ng Cambodian government sa kanilang vaccination, at ang embahada rin ay naririto handang tumulong sa kanila sa abot ng aming makakaya. At ang maganda rito, ang kapwa Pilipino rin ay nagtutulungan dito. Yun ang isang na-notice ko. Isang organization nga lang for of course may mga sub-group, pero ang umbrella is still one organization. So huwag po kayong mag-alala. At kung minsan, kasi minsan may ibang mga Filipino, hindi nila sinasabi sa amin, minsan yung relatives nila, don't hesitate also to if you have any concerns na yung inyong kamag-anak na nandito, through our UMWA office or pwede ninyo kaming sulatan directly kasi minsan di naman namin alam kung lahat ng ano. Kasi may mga cases yung kami na only through the relatives na may mga ganun palang problema eh. You're welcome ho to bring the cases to our attention na so that we can, wag ho kayong mag-alala, nandito ang embahada, nandito kami 24 hours. And we will do all we can to help our kababayans here in New York.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It's always refreshing, a relief, and enlightening na makausap kayo at malaman ng kalagayan ng ating mga kababayan po dyan. Thank you very much for your time,
Thank
ma'am.
you for giving us this medium to also reach out to our kababayans and to all the other Filipinos watching your program. Thank you po.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Sa ulitin po. God bless. Mabuhay kayo.
Buhay rin ho kayo.
Okay, so now let's go over to Thailand, where the Thai police shot tear gas and fired water cannons at pro-democracy activists rallying in the capital as thousands marched to protest the government's management of the nation's first coronavirus outbreak. Here's Gila Pablo for more. Hi, Gila.
Hi, Esther. Good afternoon. So, Thai police on Sunday deployed rubber bullets, tear gas, and water cannon against protesters who defied COVID-19 restrictions. The protesters, Esther, are calling for Premier Prayut Chan-o-cha's resignation. Demonstrators in face mask marched near Government House in central Bangkok, despite the restrictions on public gatherings of more than 5 people amid record daily infections. They demanded Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha resign and divert the fiscal budget allocated to the royal family and the military toward the management of the COVID-19 outbreak and procurement of more vaccines, according to local media reports. But authorities deployed water cannon early and blocked the main road, forcing protesters to retreat. Police also fired rubber bullets and tear gas, scattering the protesters. About 700 meters from the government house, they stood off against dozens of riot police, using slingshots to fling projectiles and firecrackers at them. By sunset, as the smoldering fire mixed with tear gas and smoke grenades fired by authorities, the protest organizers called off the rally, though some stragglers remained. Meanwhile, Esther, Thailand is grappling with its worst COVID-19 outbreak, fueled by the highly contagious Delta variant. Cumulative cases have exceeded 400,000 and daily fatalities are breaking records. Health Minister Anutin Chanvirakul on Sunday instructed the National Vaccine Institute's director, Nakhon Premsri, to draft a ministerial announcement to set a proportion of AstraZeneca vaccines to exports and the rest for domestic use. Thailand tightened restrictions also in 3 more provinces on Sunday as the country reported another day of record new coronavirus infections. The provinces were added to the highest risk list, which comes with an overnight curfew of 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., limited services and operating hours for restaurants and shopping malls, and closures of spas and beauty clinics. The Bangkok metropolitan area and 4 southern provinces are already on the list. The move to tighten restrictions follows a relentless surge in infection and hospitalizations that have stretched the nation's healthcare system, especially in the virus epicenter, Bangkok. Esther, the government is scrambling to procure more vaccines to inoculate the population, and so far, 10% of the total population have received their shots. Restrictions will come into effect from July 20 and will last for 14 days until at least August 2, according to a Royal Gazette announcement on Sunday. A ban on gatherings of more than 5 people also remains in place, and any violations would be punished with 2 years in prison, a 40,000 baht, that's equivalent to $1,200 fine, or both. And a prolonged outbreak, the speed of vaccinations, and the ability to procure more shots will affect Thailand's economic growth this year. The Bank of Thailand and the World Bank have warned that they may have to revise down their current forecast of 1.8% and 2.2% growth this year, respectively. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Gila, for all your updates. Please stay safe there in Bangkok.
Likewise, Esther. This is Zila Pablo reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. We live in interesting times.
Now let's go over to Malaysia, where all adults in the country are expected to be fully vaccinated by October under a new immunization target set by the government. From our Kuala Lumpur bureau, here's Ruby Tinawin for the report. Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Esther. Good afternoon. Yes, Malaysia's Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has set a new target to fully vaccinate all adults in Malaysia by October this year. To tackle the emergence of new variants, he said a fast-track approach in the national COVID-19 immunization program includes boosting the capacity for vaccination rate to 500,000 doses per day. In a statement posted on his Facebook on Sunday, Muhyiddin said the country's immunization program, which aims to vaccinate 80% of the residents in Malaysia with full doses, was originally targeted to be completed by the first quarter of 2022. The date was then subsequently brought forward to December 2021. But following his latest announcement, the vaccination program target date has been further moved forward. He also said under the recently announced Operation Surge Capacity Program, the COVID-19 Immunization Task Force currently aims to vaccinate all adults in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor with at least one dose by 1st of August this year, while Sarawak is also on track to fully vaccinate its adult population by the end of August. Among other updates, the Prime Minister also said among all states or almost all states will achieve a vaccination rate of more than 50% by the end of August, while all states will record a vaccination rate exceeding 70% in September. Muhyiddin added the government had received 20 million doses of vaccine so far, out of more than 76 million doses of procured vaccine supplies, now of which 70% are Pfizer, and the rest are comprising Sinovac, AstraZeneca, and CanCasino. Malaysia is expected to receive the bulk of its vaccine supply starting this month. Moving forward, Pfizer would be widely used in most vaccination centers in the country starting this month as well. Meanwhile, for the latest COVID-19 update, as of yesterday, Malaysia has recorded 10,710 new cases, pushing the cumulative figure for positive cases here to 916,561. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Ruby, for all your updates. Stay healthy.
Yes, reporting here from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This is Ruby Tinawin. We live in interesting times.
Now let's go back to Thailand, where the largest group of Thai Olympians arrived in Tokyo for the upcoming Olympics. A total of 41 Thai athletes will compete at the 2020 Olympics after a Baxter pulled out of the July 23 to August 8 games due to injury. Here's Aaron Blue for the report. Hi, Aaron.
Good afternoon, Esther. And that is right. A total of 41 Thai athletes will complete the 2020 Olympics this coming year. Thai won 2 gold medals at Rio 2016, and this time they hope to win up to 3 titles in Tokyo. Those who departed Bangkok for Tokyo on Friday night include athletes for badminton, boxing, shooting, swimming, cycling, and table tennis competition. General Ronachai Manchusunton Punkul, Deputy Secretary General of the National Olympic Committee of Thailand, saw them off at Suvarnabhumi Airport. Since their Olympic debut in 1952, Thailand have won 33 medals, which is 9 golds, 8 silvers, and 16 bronzes in only 3 sports: weightlifting, boxing, and taekwondo. Unfortunately, Thai weightlifters are banned for the 2020 Olympics due to doping. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Aaron, for that good news. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you so much, Esther. And I just want to greet my cousin Pai celebrating her 7th birthday today. Happy birthday, Pai. Stay safe and always love you. That is the latest updates here in the Land of Smiles, Kapun Manakap. I'm Aaron Blue Kalyeha from the EBC Thailand Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
In other news, and the good news in the island nation of Maldives, 50% of the eligible population in Maldives has gotten fully vaccinated. We have Steffi Dewan for the report. Hi, Steffi.
Hello, Esther. Yes, over 50% of the eligible population in the Maldives has gotten fully vaccinated, according to HPA. The spokesperson of HEOC, Dr. Nazla Rafiq, announced this milestone while speaking at a press conference, citing that this was a big achievement. In the Maldives, COVID-19 vaccines are administered to those above the age of 18. As per the latest statistics of Health Protection Agency, a total of 24,370 people have completed and have been fully vaccinated. Out of these, 6,755 people got their second dose, 3,556 people from Mali area, and 3,199 people from atolls. Covishield and Sinopharm are the vaccines that are being commonly administered in the Maldives, with Pfizer being administered in special cases. Covishield is the first COVID-19 vaccine administered in the Maldives and is also the one most people have received up to date. Maldives temporarily ceased the administration of the Covishield vaccine in early May due to the low stock of the vaccine and have now resumed mass administration upon receiving a shipment from an anonymous donor containing 60,000 doses. The administration is done so on an appointment basis. The number of people getting vaccinated has recently increased following the easements announced for those people who have gotten fully vaccinated. HPA has begun issuing appointments for the administration of the second Covishield shot for people in the Mali area who had received their first shot in April. The second Covishield shot is currently only being administered to an appointment basis, which commenced on July 5th for persons who had received the first dose starting from February till March 15. HPA announced that those who have received their first shot on April can now make appointments for the administration of the second shot through their portal. They also stressed that missing a confirmed appointment would result in its immediate cancellation, after which a new appointment would be made in order to receive the shot. Furthermore, HPA also announced that vaccination in Mali area will be temporarily stopped during the upcoming Eid, and administration will resume after the Eid holiday. And that's my quick update from Maldives. Back to you, Esther.
That's good news, Steffi. Have you been vaccinated already?
Yes, fully vaccinated, Esther.
Oh, good for you.
Thank you so much, Esther. Reporting live from Maldives. This is Steffi Juan, and we live in interesting times.
And as always, thank you, Esther, for keeping me company today here in ASEAN in Focus.
My pleasure, Alma, and that's the latest news in the ASEAN region. Thank you for joining us today here in ASEAN in Focus. This is Esther Odanga from EBC Thailand Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
And we'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.
Mapupuno ng saya, impormasyon at inspirasyon ang hapon mo sa After